Hey, welcome to another Content at Scale live stream. I am so thrilled you're tuning in. If you're on the replay, shout out to you. Welcome. Hello there. And if you're live with us, my goodness, we already have over a dozen live just like that. Please say hello in the comments. Tell us where you're from. We are about to kick off something amazing, let me tell you. So we have Marcus Campbell here. If you don't know this person, he runs a YouTube channel called Affiliate Marketing Dude with over 200,000 subscribers. And Marcus is a legitimate pro at building affiliate websites that make money. I'm talking like these websites dominate. They rank in the top of Google for hundreds, if not thousands of keywords. He has a ton of domain names that he owns, and he's got incredible strategies that I've got to see firsthand when we interviewed him to see how he was using our software, Content at Scale, to generate high quality content at scale. So Marcus is a true king at this. I am thrilled to bring him up here on stage with me. We'll do that now and let you get to hear from the expert himself. Hello, Marcus. Great to have you with us.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So for those that don't know who you are, what you do, would you give us a little intro about yourself?
For sure. Yeah, I started affiliate marketing back in, I think it was like 1999 was the first year I got a web hosting affiliate offer. And back then we got like $10 to sign people up for a web host. And I liked it because I was like, okay, I can, sell people websites and then I can go from there, which is pretty cool. And I learned accidentally how to rank a website when I did a cigar website for a company my brother worked for. And I was like, well, wait a minute, this thing's ranking on Google for like literally everything. Or actually back then it was Lycos, Hotbot, and Ask Jeeves, the big ones, right?
Oh, I remember.
And yeah, we ranked on those. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, there's something to this. And I remember that when we ranked, they didn't know how to run their website. So I went out to, I think where you guys are Austin, but I went out to Arizona. I know something about Content at Scale's Arizona.
We are moving. Did you hear that yesterday? I'm leaving Texas. Yes, we're moving. We closed on a house actually. So we're building an office out there. So that's the That's the scoop.
All right. And it's Scottsdale or something. Yeah.
Correct. Moving to Scottsdale. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So that's where this cigar website was. And it ranked really well. So I went out to their office and I noticed that they just had tons and tons of orders. And back then it was, you had to print out the order, go and run it on the credit card machine and then ship it out. So they had me show them how to do it. And I was kind of dumbfounded, like, okay, I made this website and now all of a sudden these people are ordering things and it's a ton of money for this business. And so I got hooked on SEO and ranking sites and understanding Google and everything like that. And now, in the age of AI, it's crazy simple, crazy easy, where the barriers before, you had to have writers and all kinds of things. And now with AI, you could write, 10 articles in one day where it used to take you all day to do a good one.
Yes. So tell us about that. So the last time we talked, you were sharing an amazing case study, how you basically went from paying high dollar content writers that maybe showed up sometimes, maybe didn't, to fully embracing AI because it was just a better solution. So tell us like the difference in cost savings and the difference in experience. And of course, you're using Content at Scale. So speak to that as well.
Yeah, so I started by using regular ChatGPT, and it worked okay. It's good. I found that using ChatGPT, it was better when you gave it something to chew on. So if I gave it an article, I gave it a piece of text or a little bit of data, it would give me a much more customized output, which was great. Now using Content at Scale, I found that, okay, I could go in, I can enter keywords, I can figure out, kind of what I want. And you have to engineer your title because your title is kind of less about, hey, here's a keyword and more about, hey, here's the instructions for the keyword. So where I was before with ranking sites and doing SEO and buying content, we would go to like iWriter, we'd go to hire writers. I had a staff of people, outsourcers that would write for me, and it would cost anywhere from like $100 to $300 for a really good, solid piece of content. And so using that it was okay. And, you know, I would usually have to order like 2 because one would be half, the other would be half, put them together, you get something good. And it would take, you know, 3 or 4 days to get that completed. Now with AI, what we're doing is a lot better. So yesterday's video I did on my channel was about LinkedIn. And I mean, it was specific to using LinkedIn for search engine rankings, and I needed notes for it. And so I had an outsourcer do notes on ChatGPT. And I mean, the quality of notes we got was something that I probably would have had to pay like $500 for before AI. And this was, sorry to reveal, $20, which was like, okay, that's a good savings. And it was like 4 hours. And the data is much more specific because with AI, it doesn't really try to interpret what you want. It just does exactly what you want. So if I go to an outsourcer or a writer and I say, I want LinkedIn Pulse, how people are making money with rankings, they're going to interpret that and be like, oh, here's how people make money on LinkedIn. And that's not what I want. I want something very specific. And when you're doing SEO and Google rankings, the more specific you are to the keyword, the more you're going to hit the intent and the better your outcome is going to be, whether it's, you know, the ranking or even the people reading it are going to convert into other stuff based on that output. So I think, you know, looking at that in terms of specific, very to the point stuff, it works well. And, you know, when you go in content at scale, we're getting the same kind of thing as well, where if you have a transcript or a video or something like that, it can work extremely well, where, you know, you just feed it the URL link and it'll do the notes, which is pretty cool.
How do you feel about undetectable AI content? I know ChatGPT, when it generates output, it's often detectable. So that's the problem that Content at Scale really solves with, you know, unique stack of LLMs, not just a single API call to ChatGPT, which a lot of these brands are. So how do you feel about, have you tested ChatGPT content? Does it rank? Have you tested that versus Content at Scale?
So I have a theory, and I don't know if people will like my theory. My theory is that, one, Google has come out and said, you know, hey, if it's good content, that's all we care about. There's another theory where I have tested rigorously different AI detectors, and the results are all over the place. I mean, I went through, and I'm actually going to make a video on it, where I went back into my Hire Writers and iWriter accounts, and I got reports that people wrote back before AI was even a thing. We ran them through, and, you know, 7 out of 10 times it's going to be flagged as AI, and AI wasn't around then.
Yep.
Do I prefer AI that passes the test? Totally, 100%. Is that worth paying for? 100%. Where it usually misses is the point between having the right specific content and having it pass. Because if I get content that is exactly like this, specific, guaranteed this probably will not pass an AI detector. Now, in terms of readability, in terms of what it's going to do for a search person looking this up, light years ahead of a lot of other tools that might just be focused on passing. Now, with yours, Content at Scale, it does both. I'm finding that it's kind of a toggle between like, okay, if I can do a couple of videos or a couple of passes on a topic, I can get one really, 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 really solid article. Or even go in and say, okay, maybe Content at Scale is going to be my baseline, and then I'll add some tables, I'll add some other stuff that may or may not be flagged as AI content, but overall it'd be like, you know, 70% would be non-flagged from Content at Scale. The other 30% would be my own stuff, which may or may not get flagged.
That's a great point. You know, I have to agree with you on the writers being flagged as AI, because AI detection isn't necessarily telling you, oh, this is AI. What it's telling you is this sounds robotic. And do you know how many writers sound robotic on this planet?
Yep.
Quite a few.
Yeah. So, everyone but me. People hear my writing and they're like, did he ever go to school at all?
That's why you have AI.
That is why. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd love for you to walk us through your process. Marcus has an amazing process for uncovering gold mine opportunities. And then just tell us a little bit, I guess it would be self-promotional and bragging, which is totally okay. But I want to hear like what you're actually doing because you have incredible results. You have how many domains by now and how many rankings approximately?
Domains probably close to 3,000, maybe more.
My goodness.
1,000 of them are GoDaddy auction domains, which are the more expensive, better ranking ones. And we actually have a video coming out tomorrow, which is going to be about Google's crackdown on using expired and auction domains and AI stuff. Because there's a change that's happening that's interesting because in their scramble to get rid of all the spam results, the baby's always going to go out with the bathwater. And it's always going to take down good stuff as well. And right now we're seeing a lot of bad stuff showing up, a lot of spam stuff showing up as well. But yeah, with the domains, what we're doing is we're buying auction domains that rank for something. So, a couple months ago, I think it was our first test with Content at Scale, or like the third site or something like that, was a website about emoticons. And a client had purchased this website from us. We got the domain. It cost like $2,000 at auction. We built it up, and I think we put a mix of ChatGPT content and Content at Scale content. I think I still have the project. If I do, we can see. I think it was like 100 from Content at Scale and like 50 from us or something like that. And what we're seeing is the rankings are ridiculous. Like where this used to take us forever to create content, now we're getting better content. It's ranking better than ever before. And it's fitting the need. It's easy to edit. And you're able to get traffic and convert it in a way that before didn't exist. The same kind of thing we're doing. I bought another domain, wpcity.com, which we're building up now with AI content. And it's all about WordPress errors, how to fix it, themes, hosting. And my thinking is, with something like WordPress that ties into web hosting, which, I mean, that's like a $9 a click keyword. So there's a lot of money there. We did the same thing with an SUV website where we've ranked for all kinds of SUV terms. We have students that are doing, tactical websites for preppers and stuff like that. And the rankings are crazy. I would say to date, let's see, I think Content at Scale will let me update it. So to date, we've done just under 1,200 posts with Content at Scale. And I know using another AI method, we're probably close to like 5,000 AI posts total, which is quite a bit. And again, it has to do with really thinking about what the user wants, really knowing the prompt, and kind of understanding what's going on.
So walk us through that piece where let's say your first starting point, is that the keyword research part, or what is your first step?
So I'm going to go, let me see if I could share my screen. Is that all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we'll go video share screen. Okay. Share screen and okay. Content at Scale. I have 2 for Content at Scale. So hopefully it'll get the right one. I think this is it. Oh, window, entire screen. There we go. Cool.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So you should be seeing like the little chart thingy. Cool. Okay. So when I go in and look at keywords, if I was going to do regular keywords, what I'll do is something like Ahrefs here. Okay. Ahrefs, I could go through and I could do what I call trigger words. Okay. A trigger word is for someone that's out there and they're like, I don't know what I want to do. I just want to make some money. What that'll do is it'll allow us to find a market that has low competition. For example, let's say instead of mortgages or loans, I would do something like calculator. Okay. Under calculator, you're going to see all different kinds of calculators, different things like this. Okay. What I would do is I would go through in Ahrefs or SEMrush or whatever you like, and then I would just go for KD which is the difficulty, maybe something under 10, right? That ought to be good. Now, using this, what you would do is you build up a website around keywords that would work. And we could say, okay, maybe I want to do A1C calculator or foot calculator. I don't know what that is, but all kinds of different things there that would look at it. So asphalt calculator, as an affiliate, I would look at that and say, okay, I'm sure there are people who do pavement and asphalt and driveways that want leads. So of those 13,000 people, if I can make a good asphalt calculator with ChatGPT, I could actually go into content at scale and I would prompt it in a different way where I would say, let's just go to a project here. I'll just pick a random one. Let's say I wanted to write a post. I would actually go for keyword and then I would prompt what I want. So I'm not necessarily going to tell content at scale, hey, I just want to rank for this keyword. I'm also going to give it instructions in the title or whatever portion that's called. So I'd do asphalt calculator. How does it calculate? So what this is going to do is I'm going to think, okay, if I had the calculator, which I mean, I could go to ChatGPT, and I can do, please create me an asphalt calculator, right? In PHP, right? That way I could put it on my website. What it would do is it would go through and say, okay, here's how much it's going to cost. Here's how much you need, something like that. What content at scale is going to do is it's going to write the article that explains how that works, right? And then all I do is I put that up. I try to fit it to, okay, if they were looking for asphalt calculator, they probably don't just want, hey, it's 50 by 1,000 feet. They probably want, hey, what about pricing? What about labor? What about understanding how it works? What about understanding the depth or the thickness? Or is it on an incline or decline or whatever it is? That's something that's important. So that would be method number one. Another method would be for people out there that want to make money and they're like, hey, I just don't know what I'm doing. What you can do is you can actually look at, and this is something that is a amazing test. Because if you look at what happened with Google over the last 6 months, you got sites like Reddit, LinkedIn, all these sites just skyrocketing in traffic. And the interesting part, I actually went in for yesterday's video and I created a bunch of keywords that are ranking on LinkedIn. And a lot of these are using AI, right? And it's like straight up AI flagged AI content. Like there isn't one word that's not showing up as AI content, which is interesting. And so what you can do here is look at this and it's like, hey, these are rankings that they have literally right now. And we did a test where it was like, okay, on this domain, right? If you were to go, let me do this off screen just to make sure it's clean results. Let's see here. I'll go in here, LinkedIn. So it's the LinkedIn Pulse /Pulse, which is their, I think it's like their blog or something like that. Or their version of blogging. So if you look at what happened with LinkedIn, this is since the last Google update. So the last Google update was what, 3 months ago. So you're seeing 5 million visitors a month. Now we're at 31. So that's 6x the traffic, which is crazy. And then if you look at, I'm just going to do this real quick over here to make sure it's clean results. If you look at what it actually ranks for, you're going to see, okay, different reviews and things like that. And then if you go through and you look at, okay, well, what are the opportunities here? Keyword, we could do reviews because everyone knows like review traffic is very strict right now. With AI stuff, they want human reviews. However, LinkedIn kind of goes by the radar. Like they're under the radar because it's such a powerful site. So we did this and we're looking at 31,000 keywords for the word reviews. However, the word reviews has 8 million available keywords, probably more, but 8 million that are registering. So we would look at that and say, okay, well, what are the gaps we can use? What are the different products we can use to review? So those are the trigger word method, which I teach, and then also looking at other sites, that are doing really well. The other method I'll use is going to Spamzilla, which is a cool program that allows you to find expired domains or auction domains that already have rankings. So if I go here and I look at GoDaddy, I can see Ahrefs positions, and I could see domains that actually rank. Like this is one I was looking at, went a little higher than I would have liked for this specific domain. But if you were to buy something like this is already right now, this second, ranking on Google for 8,600 keywords. Like right now, I don't even have to do anything. All right. Now, the caveat there is for $4,000 or whatever it's at now. Let's see what it's at. Okay. So yeah, $4,000. The caveat is I'm just buying the domain. I'm not necessarily buying the content. So now with AI, I would go through and I would say, okay, what would I need to do to put this content up to get that traffic? And you could see why this one isn't necessarily worth it because the volume's not that high. But that's kind of what we do. And I just build pages with AI for this kind of thing. This kind of thing we did on Moji Edit, which watch what happened with this one since we took it over. This is 100% AI content. This is a student of mine site, 10,000 rankings. And you can see so this is before we took it over. I think we took it over right around July. And it went from $500 a month worth of traffic to like more than $500 a month. And you can see it gained a bunch of rankings, and it's doing phenomenally, which is great. We did the same thing with an SUV site right here. And then, of course, we're just adding affiliate offers and things like that. And the key is to look at what ranks and then tweak it. Because once you put something up, AI is not going to get it perfect the first time. But you might notice, hey, this article about best and worst SUVs is actually ranking for Ford SUV. I don't know. What is it? Explorer, right? Maybe it's ranking for Ford Explorer. I'm going to go in and tweak that for Ford Explorer because that's going to get me a lot more traffic.
Incredible. Well, I hope you guys are taking notes. I know we have our SEO coordinator here, Farnaz, and I'm like, Farnaz, take some notes because we want to do this too. I mean, that's amazing. What a great way. You hear the phrase low-hanging fruit a lot, like go after low-hanging fruit. What does that actually mean? It means look at what's ranking, top 10, top 20, bring that to the top third. But this is an incredible path to low-hanging fruit where you can actually snag, that expired domain and pick up. You showed us over 8,000 rankings that are just sitting there on an expired domain. So that's brilliant. Love that strategy. If you guys have questions at this point, please drop them in the comments. Amazing, Farnaz, you're taking notes. Thank you, ma'am. We definitely want to apply this strategy to what you're doing. She's our amazing SEO coordinator, and we are doing Content at Scale for ourselves. That's our main marketing avenue, to be a case study of what we're upholding. So would you walk us through some of the pieces written by Content at Scale that are in the top 3? I know we looked at a few of them. I want to say maybe it was 3 months ago, and it was incredible because some of those pieces were ranking, I think you said without any editing. I'll let you clarify. 0 human editing, straight out of the AI with all of that formatting done that Content at Scale does for you. And you were able to just hit publish, go, and then rank, I think it was in the top 3 for a keyword with more than 5 figures in searches per month. So if you could walk us through some individual wins, I think that would be really inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. So this one here, I think if you can show the screen again, this is the SUV one. Now these rankings are all 100% AI through Content at Scale, and there was no editing. So this one here, I think we added the pictures. I just had an outsourcer do it. But other than that, no editing at all. We kept the same formatting. I just basically copied it from HTML to HTML. And it worked really well. I mean, it did a good job other than my formatting on this picture here. Apparently it's a giant SUV.
I like how that's human error, the one error.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, when you look at it, it's like, okay, is it doing a good job of getting this content? And I think it was, you know, the SUV with the best visibility. Are there rooms for improvement? Sure. But did it rank right out of the get-go? Yeah. Which is cool because now I can rank now, fix later, which is a good strategy because a lot of people, I mean, in the old days of blogging and creating content and SEO, you know, you'd have to be in this thing thousands of dollars to just see if something would work. And now it's like, okay, now, you know, I can spend 20, 50 bucks per piece of content, put it out there, see what's working, tweak it, and kind of go from there. And when I look at it, I'm going to be like, okay, well, what are the ones with the volume? So luxury mid-size SUVs. Okay, this one, mid-size for luxurious. So like right there, if I change this title to luxury mid-size SUVs, I'd probably crack top 20. And that's just, you know, utilizing a little bit of ingenuity and effort. And I can even go through, and this is something a lot of people, they don't really like to do. And as an entrepreneur, I'm not a big fan of it, but the output is going to be worth the money. When we're entrepreneurs and we look at building stuff, our idea usually tends to be save money, which isn't always the best for making money.
Yeah.
And so when I look at something like content at scale, which is, I don't know, like 30, 35 bucks per piece of content, or is somewhere around there now.
Correct.
I look at that and I'm like, okay, what can I do? Because even though this one's done, all right, I already paid my 30 bucks or whatever, I got the content. Even though this is done, it might behoove me to go through and say, okay, well, let's go through and let's hit it with another one. And we'll do this test live. Okay, so we did 114 on this site. So with this one, it might be a good idea to try to prompt it with something even more specific, right? So I can go in and say luxury midsize SUV. I could do the best luxury midsize SUV. And then I can go through and say, please list 3 options with prices, specs, and why they are good, and what is considered a good, or what is considered a midsize. Okay. Then I'll go through like this. I probably won't do too much other stuff here. And then I'll go ahead and write it. And once I write it, it's going to give me something to stack on top of the other. And once you realize the power of being able to stack things on top of each other, that's where the magic happens, because you're going to get that much better of a piece of content. It will rise to the top, and we can use it for other stuff. Like right now, we're doing video with AI. We're not using out of the box video AI. We're using a hybrid blend, and it's working really, really well. And it's really cost effective, where before it was $200 to $500 for a 3-minute video. Now we got that down to like 20. Now there are steps involved. You got to get the script and things like that. But it's very, very strategic. And when you go through and think about these, right? Like when it spits it out and you say, okay, well, how could I make this better? How can I make this work in a specific way where if someone was looking for mid-size SUVs, it would answer the question? Maybe, you know, and looking at other examples as well. And this is where we get into like adding to. So if you're out there and you want to use content at scale, but you're apprehensive about, dude, I already paid 35 bucks for this, I'm not going to hit it again. What you could do is you could go to ChatGPT and say, well, maybe I can take something from like Edmunds or whatever those fancy car sites are and look at their format. And there's 2 tips I'll give you on that one. One is use the Edge plugin here with the Copilot. So I can go and I can do like best SUV luxury. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to find something that has what you're looking for. So Consumer Reports, this guy here, right? And if I go to something like this, what I can do is I could use Copilot and say, please extract this format so I can use it on my blog. How the content is laid out based on the search term, luxury SUVs or whatever it is, right? And it'll go through and it'll do that for me. Yep, let's see. Right, like this. Okay, and it's actually looking at this page for me, which is really cool. Yep, I'm gonna have to go to the page. Try now, please. Okay. And then that'll give me something to stack, but then it's going to go through. You might have to try it a couple times, but eventually answer from this page instead. And then it'll go through and it'll give you something that you can stack on it, which will help, because it's like, okay, this is already ranking, so we know that'll work. Now it's given a little bit of a trouble. If it does give you trouble, what you can do is you can take the text, put that text into ChatGPT, and it'll do that. But now it is doing it for us. But yeah, that's the kind of thing where we can look at and say, okay, how can I stack this? How can I make this better? And then thinking ahead of like, how can I go and actually create something that I'm thinking ahead is going to be a blog post, a Pinterest, a video, a social media, something where I'm a big fan of, like, if you're going to pay for the content like this is content I got for yesterday's video about LinkedIn. I would have no problem at all slapping my logo on this and giving it away as a LinkedIn SEO article. It stands on its own. That's kind of the goal of where we want to get. And utilizing content at scale, it's pretty close. We'll see how this one comes out, but it is getting pretty close. As we can see here, this is the one from yesterday's video. So this would be a one-to-one comparison, this versus content at scale. And for the money, I would say content at scale did a pretty darn good job on this. The video, what do we call it? The video transcribe note taker thing?
Transcription.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does pretty good. It has gotten a lot better in the last like 45 days. So that's good. But yeah, it's going through and it's taking the actual transcript of the video and making notes that are working really well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And something that it does as well is it creates original content based on your talking points. So you found that that's pretty accurate to what the video is talking about.
Yes. Sometimes it won't, but I mean, like 27,000, 8,200 a month. Those are specific things that I went through, and you know, those are things that I talked about. Taylor headlines. This is something that's it expanded on. I didn't really cover that. People said they wished I'd covered it, so you know, that's good. It helped me out there. But I think that's something that people are missing is, you know, something like this and AI as a whole isn't just a text written content kind of thing. That's not at all. When we look at it, we tend to look at it from just SEO standpoint. We don't think about, hey, there's video people out there that make videos and they don't want to go make notes on all their videos, you know, because for me, I wing it. I don't have scripts. I have outlines, but I'm not reading a script on my videos, which means for me to sit down and make notes on that is now going to be an extra job. Where AI now does that, or content at scale will do that, not necessarily, hey, I'm going to rank for how to make money on LinkedIn, but maybe just for value to my audience. And that's something also, I mean, you think about it and it's like, I can create a blog, I can get traffic, I could pay for traffic, right? Let's say you take SEO out of the equation. You could pay for traffic. I can have content at scale go through and say, well, what are the top questions people have in the niche? Maybe, you know, how to buy an SUV. What do I do about an SUV loan? What are scams to watch out for at the dealership? Should I buy used? Should I buy new? these are all blog posts that not only can rank, because we're going to put them on our blog, we're going to try to rank them, but 9 times out of 10, unless you have a domain that is just like full of muscles, SEO muscles, right? We're probably not going to rank for some of those really hot words. But if I can use that for blog content, that's going to show Google, hey, people are reading the emails, they're going back to the site. And for every visitor that comes in, now I'm going to get them back to my site over and over and over again with a mailing list, because now Content at Scale is making content that is valuable for them.
Yeah, 2 things you pointed out here that are really powerful. I think what you talked about, stacking more keywords, and basically you look at one topic and then you pull in another related one. Would you say that that is topical authority? Is that how you would describe that technique? You're building topical authority.
Yeah, it is getting there. I think the authority part is going to come from backlinks and shareability, posting on forums and things like that that lead back to your content. And that's another thing that I think is overlooked with AI, is the fact that I can take something like this, I can put this into Content at Scale, and I can get a variation of my article for something else. So let's say, I got this one that's 4,200 words. I can go in, I can feed it a blog post, and I could say, hey, you know what? I only want 750 words because I'm going to post this on Reddit or something like that. That's something that you can get into where, again, you don't have to rewrite it. You don't have to, worry about the other stuff. Or even if you didn't want to do this, take your Content at Scale one or whatever you're using, go over here, and then clear this out. Please summarize this page for a Quora, Reddit, or LinkedIn post, right? And it'll go through and it'll actually summarize the page for you. So that way you don't have to, order another one or whatever it is. And that'll be something that's very simple, and it'll be helpful too. Like if they're looking for the best SUVs or whatever, this will do the job for them.
It's crazy when you compare, this versus what a writer costs, like a human only writer, not using AI at all, slow. And it's crazy because now we have this new benchmark of speed to compare against, which is just unbelievable. Like we're talking minutes, hours for a good 3,000 word blog versus what used to be like some writers that I knew needed at least a week. Right. So this process, it's really interesting. Something else you said about the investment mindset, right? Because like, oh, I could do all these hacks or methods, all these different things to try to not pay that $35. But is that the right mindset? Because this used to cost hundreds from a real writer. And now we can do it. Your approach, which I think we don't think of that approach enough, because a lot of us, myself included, as former human only writers, are perfectionists. So we look at a piece of content that comes out of a tool like Content at Scale, and we think we have to optimize the heck out of this. We have to add a lot. We have to edit a ton. We have to spend hours, but you just proved that we don't. Like, we don't have to do that much to it. It's almost ready to go. So I think that point of like the investment mindset is such a good point. And it looks like we have a question. John, did you want to pop on? I think you added that question. There you are.
Yes, we have a question. Can we use Content at Scale for e-commerce store like Shopify, listing optimization, or WooCommerce? And we get this question a lot. And the answer is absolutely yes. Long ago now, we have even integrated with Shopify. So not only does it work strategically with Shopify quite well, but you can actually just publish straight to Shopify from Content at Scale once you create your content. So yeah, the short answer is absolutely yes. We have a lot of people doing that.
Have you done any of that, Marcus? Shopify or WooCommerce publishing?
So I look at that a little bit differently. What I would do in that example is I would use the benefit of the SEO that's in Content at Scale to drive people to a blog which has listings for my Shopify store. Because a lot of people, they'll look at platforms as the be all end all. And it's like, okay, if I'm using Shopify, there is no benefit to using Shopify other than it's an easy shopping cart. That's all it is. As far as traffic and stuff like that, it's not going to do much. With Etsy, like Etsy, it has its own internal SEO. Great, wonderful. If you crack the code, you're in. If you don't crack the code, you're going to wonder why it doesn't work. What I would do is I would use a blog, preferably if I can find an expired blog. Maybe you're doing, scooters or soaps or whatever it is. And I would find a blog on that using, the domain tools. And then what I would do is I would drive them over there with like a little button that's like, hey, order this thing here. And I think that's where a lot of people miss it, because it's like, if I have an Etsy store and I'm waiting for stuff to get picked up, I could get lucky. I could do SEO over there, but again, I'm at their mercy. But if I have a blog that's about the topic, I could make something an instant bestseller on Etsy like that. And you've seen this with your business, Julia, where, you have a following, you put a book on Amazon and it's a bestseller overnight because you have the following. If you had just put it on Amazon, they'd be like, content, Julia, what?
Right.
That's not your crowd. Same with me. They're not going to care, but your audience,
Marcus, you have a lot of following.
I don't think they might be. I don't know. We'll see when my sobriety book comes out, if that does good. I don't know.
Oh, that's amazing.
But yeah, fueling with something else, that's what I would be a big fan of, because then you own two things. Yes, different domain for Shopify and associated blog. Absolutely. Yep.
Looks like Stella knows her stuff. Prefer WordPress with WooCommerce. I mean, that's going to be a very stable solution, because I know Shopify has some, shall we say, out of the box SEO difficulties where it's just like you have tags that are mixed up. You got to do some hard coding. But WordPress, of course, is more out of the box friendly with SEO. And I've done that. We did that with our agency site. We had a WooCommerce platform, and it was a WordPress site, WooCommerce. You could order through the WooCommerce store, and those pages attached to the WooCommerce store ranked for all these high value keywords like professional copywriter, legal copywriter. We were ranking top 3 with a WooCommerce landing page. So you can definitely do that. And I think that person asking, using content at scale, you're going to for me, one of the benefits of content at scale is all that formatting. I can tell you, Marcus, and you've probably gone through this, where I actually had to train writers. I built courses just for this, spent a year of my life trying to train writers on that flow, because that flow, the headers, the H2s is so specific.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And formatting is key. If you have that right, and you can wing it with tools. But again, it has to do with what is your time worth and how do you think about growth rather than saving money. Whenever I try to think about saving money in my business, it's always a bad idea, because it's like, okay, I'm not it's funny because I think there's a saying where the average person will take more time to try to save $10,000 from being taken than make 10,000. And I'm always the opposite. I'm like, well, I can make 10,000. I'm not good at keeping it, but I can make it. And utilizing that mindset where you're like, okay, this tool can work for this. And the question is, over the course of a year, will the content I produce, if it gets traffic, make $35? Probably. I mean, unless I'm terrible at keyword research, it should be able to do something. And that's where, the change happens.
When I coached last year, after I sold my agency the year before, that was probably one of the most surprising things of that year, was to find out just the mindset alone was something that people don't have innately. Like, you are not just born with this mindset, because we're born wired fight or flight, wired to defend ourselves instead of play offense. So we have to rewire our brain for this. And what you brought up is such a critical point. Like, if I put that $35 investment, if I put that subscription investment and I use the tool, which is, by the way, one of the most important things, if you get content at scale, don't let it sit. So if you're going to use it, that money will return to you. I mean, there's a million ways you can make money. The problem usually is the traffic and getting people to that offer. So if you have the traffic, which you can do now straight out of AI, which is unbelievable, we can do that and just collapse time and effort, bring that down to almost 1% of what it used to be, because content creation used to be the hardest thing. then
Yeah.
it's really amazing to think about the opportunity. So I love that you brought up that point. And if there's one big takeaway, it would be that the mindset of almost like the investment mindset you have to even succeed at this, to succeed at traffic and inbound marketing in particular. There's a really good question. I think John actually raised that. John, would you pull up the question about 2024? We can throw that at Marcus because that's a great question.
All right. How have your affiliate marketing strategies evolved over time, and will 2024 look different? I think 2024 is going to be a doozy. I think AI is just now being really, really highly accepted pretty much everywhere online. Yeah. And with that, it's kind of like the old race of 2003 search engine stuff, where you had tools that would make content and it was junk. I mean, compared to AI, it was like unreadable junk. It was terrible. And when you had that, the search engines were trying to, okay, how do we get rid of this? Now with AI advancing so quickly, these companies can't do that, because if you have people that all day, every day, all they're doing is trying to make content with AI, it's going to flood so quick and it's going to adapt so quickly. There is no way humanly possible for the search engines to come up. And I've thought about trying to figure out how much content was online 2003 versus now. And I would probably venture to say it like doubled because of AI, because it's just so easy to make this stuff now. Whereas before, you know, you had to have a barrier of entry. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the best stuff rise to the top. Algorithms are going to change. I mean, there's a lot that people are missing. They say, oh, Reddit got a big jump. Well, why? Why did they get a jump? Because Google is prioritizing that, because of anything that's trusted as a human resource. If I go through and I'm like, okay, I go to Reddit and I look for the best stroller for my twins, right? Reddit is someone who has twins who use the stroller. It's someone with an opinion. Whereas other stuff, not so much. We're seeing sites like WikiHow and different places like this decline in rankings. Why? Because it's more or less generated content for the purpose of ranking rather than for the purpose of consumption. And if we look at consumption, ads, and where everything's going, like right now on YouTube, I'm going nuts because I'm like, I can't compete with AI. With my ethics and the way that I view video creation, where I always want to base everything on true stuff, always want to have the thumbnail, even if it is clickbaity looking, I want to deliver on the promise, right? I don't want to be like, hey, $10,000 a minute if someone didn't make $10,000 a minute.
Thank you.
Right? And it's difficult. But now with AI, there's 500 video creators with AI, which people would rather watch slides than my face, which shocker, right? So they'd rather watch non-human video with non-human voices. They're getting lots of views and it's swamping the market. And there's gonna have to be a correction, whether it's monetization issues, whether it's rules around AI and AI voices. I think that for people to be smart in 2024 about content creation with AI, there needs to be a mix. Like you talk about with, hey, content at scale is good. It will rank, but it's not the end point. Like we're not going to go there, get 15 articles, stick them in a book and expect it to be the New York Times bestseller. But is it a starting point where I can add human interaction, save hundreds of dollars and make something good? Yes, it is. With video, is it something that we can create and add to? And I think that's where the run for the money is going to happen, is staying on top of what's working, what they're prioritizing, and changes in what ranks, what doesn't rank, and things like that.
Those are great points. Great points. Oh, John, we got another question. Given that 2024 will be a doozy, what are the first 2 or 3 steps? Oh, good question. A new affiliate marketer should do to set themselves up for success.
Number 1 is going to be refine your market. So know what you're doing. If you're talking about AI content creators, stick to the topic. I mean, if you look at it, if you were just to say, hey, it's the 4th day of, January, I got 261 days left. For those 261 days, I am going to focus on AI content tools, that alone, right? And, oh, hey, what about Dolly? Nope, that's not a content tool I'm talking about. I'm talking about text. And you stick to it. If you're doing workouts, weight loss, whatever it is, stick to that one thing. Build a mailing list. Follow the mailing list rules that are being enforced next month with Google and Yahoo. Follow those. Get multiple endpoints, right? I don't just want SEO to be my only thing. I want SEO. I want video. I want Pinterest. I want Facebook. And really cultivate an audience. And that's where it's going to be. Even if you're not at the face of your business or on camera or anything like that, cultivate that audience. They will follow it if you're giving good stuff. And if you build a mailing list or even have a Facebook group, utilize things that will work. Facebook ranks in Google. Pinterest ranks in Google. Reddit, Quora, what was the other one? LinkedIn. These all work, right? Like if I'm going to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to be the guy talking about AI content tools. Okay, they pay really well. I could go out there. I could be like, okay, here's my LinkedIn. Here's snippets of what I'm talking about. Here's a YouTube where maybe I have my voice, right? It's some of the stuff, if you're going to want to get ahead, you got to get over. Personally, to me, I can't stand my own voice. When I have to edit, I'm like, turn it off. But, you know, that's something I got to get over because that's part of my business. And really looking at being aggressive with where you're going to go out and put your content. I think being deliberate. So 1, get your own niche, refine it. 2, get an easy domain. Very easy. This is in addition to your expired or auction domain. Get a domain that's easy to understand. It's something that if I was to say it on camera or in video, no one can spell it wrong. This is a reason I don't get like Marcus's blog. They're going to say, is there 1 S? Is there 2 S's? Do you have an apostrophe in a domain? By the time they figure that out, they've already forgot about me. So I need something simple. And that's why I got Affiliate Dude. AffiliateDude.com is small. It fits on a TikTok. It fits on a Pinterest. You know, I have Affiliate Marketing Dude, but the shorter one is easier and it's trackable. I put a little tracker on that, get all the traffic in, and everything's good to go. But get a good domain and then make an audience out of your niche.
Those are powerful steps. I feel like that has been true almost since the beginning, but maybe it got even more important now because I'm telling you, one of the most difficult things when it comes to entrepreneurship, creating content for me and probably for most of you is just focusing because you want to talk about everything when you start creating content. But this is really what Marcus shared is really the secret sauce to getting somewhere in an amount of time that is realistic. And because of AI, you can literally take that third step, build your audience and do it faster than ever, which is just amazing. So those are great steps, great reminders. I feel like the fundamentals never change. They just got more important now because, you know, there's so much discombobulated AI content and it's going to just be like an ocean of crap because everyone thinks they can open ChatGPT and now become a great writer. And that's just simply not true. So the internet will recalibrate around that. And good content, once again, will stand out. But I love your steps to success there. And guys, we're coming up on our hour. So if you have any questions for Marcus, now is the time to drop them in while we have him here live with us. And we have an amazing case study. If you haven't seen that, John, maybe you can grab that. We can put the link up here on screen where Marcus literally walked through a lot of these steps, step by step in a video. And then we made a blog out of it. But is there any other highlights from your experience with AI content? I was going to say this year, but it's last year. Any other highlights you would share that you've ran into?
Yeah, I mean, we've used, I think we've got, let's see. I think I have, we removed some of the projects, but I think I had either 200 or 260 projects in there. A lot of them ranked really, really well. And what I would say is the key is going to be really, really being deliberate with what you're trying to do, right? We can't just go out there and do the whole, let's throw everything up and see if it works. Now it will work. I mean, there's case studies out there where people have bought in domains. They made 800 grand in 2 months, basically spamming. Now, is that what I'm going to do? No, I don't want to do spamming. 800 grand in 2 months would be nice, but hey, we have to have ethics here and give good stuff because it's gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah, that's right. It'll last.
Yeah, and if you're deliberate, you're going to get an audience that it's going to grow and it's going to snowball. And what's going to happen is you're going to build, and you're not really going to know the power of what you built, because as my buddy Brian always says, he said most people quit before the magic happens. And you're right there, and you might be making $1 or $5 or $10 or whatever. And you're like, well, my hosting's $30. This isn't a good business decision. But you're literally months away from the thing snowballing.
Wow.
Now with the expired domains, it's way faster. I mean, we're seeing things rank. Like this is one we did for someone. I think she might have added content. I don't know. But think about this, right? In the business world, one of the most expensive keywords is franchising. It's insane, right? It's like literally, I mean, to get a McDonald's is like $4 million or $2 million or something like that. So those companies are paying a fortune. And to me, those numbers don't make sense. But at any rate, I'll digress. I'm an internet guy, not a McDonald's guy. If we do high rail franchising, I think this is it. This one's ranking pretty well for franchise type keywords. Now you might look at this and be like, oh, well, Marcus, 150 searches a month. What are you going to go, buy a hamburger? Well, no. When you look at that type of thing, worst franchises to own, 82 cents a click. But when you look at the word franchise, if we were to go SpyFu, okay, you're looking at something that's going to be literally huge. So you do franchise, and then you can even get more into it. So just franchise alone, now we're at 252. If I do buy a franchise, now we're looking at 285. You can do like buy a business, stuff like that, and just kind of toggle it to where you're going to find the one that pays a lot. Finance franchise, right? And you can go through, and some of these keywords will be like $40, $50 a click or $20 a click or whatever, because it's so advertiser friendly. And that's this is all ranking just straight out of, as you like to say, straight out of AI. And I believe, let's see. Yeah, it looks like these are all straight from Content at Scale. So yeah, it's being slow, but yeah, they rank really well. And then you can just go volume and kind of most profitable franchise like that. A 41 ranking on that term with AI content, not even human edited from Content at Scale. That's impressive.
Yeah. And this is a new site too.
Yeah. It was a domain that I think we bought it like 3 months ago or 2 months ago.
Did it have any age on it?
Did it have any what?
Age on it.
Yeah, I think it did. It had rankings back then. So what you'll see is when you buy them, they'll drop at a certain point and then come back. So like 105, and then it went to 7. So this is probably around the time it started to drop. I could probably look it up in my email and see when I bought it.
And you raised a great point.
Yeah, so it was purchased in June.
Okay.
And we even let it sit dormant for months, but it still picked up pretty good.
Wow. You raised a great point about the traffic per month, because that was something, I came across whenever I was doing a lot of consulting, still am, with our users and our clients at Content at Scale. And I know John does too, and he's here on this call, but it's really a misnomer that, there are only 10 searches a month for this keyword. Well, what if those were 10 ideal buyers versus 1,000 window shoppers? So the value of that traffic that you just showed us around that high dollar keyword franchising is unbelievable. And getting to 40 means that you have the opportunity to go from there to 10 and 5. And she did that without any editing, straight out of the AI machine. So that's amazing case study. I think of what you can do with what feels like very little, like that's not a lot of traffic, but oh my goodness, the intent behind that traffic and the value of it. So here's a question for you from a user. Has anyone ever asked you if if your content is straight out of AI? Have you come across that?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think so.
not at all.
Yeah, nobody really pays attention to it. And I even did, there was a YouTube intro I did because I like to do fun intros for my Wednesday lives. And one of them, I did a test where I'm like, I'm just going to take the straight up script. I'm going to read it and see if anyone notices. No one noticed. Which is kind of like sad because it's like, well, what's my job? You know? But yeah, to your point where you're talking about the keywords and the traffic, one thing I would leave everyone with too is don't underestimate the value of being able to flip the market. Flipping the market is where you intentionally find keywords that you can rank for, like, what do I do if I'm behind on my mortgage? Or why is this happening? Or something very simple, you know, a broken faucet. All right, broken faucet's a 10-cent keyword. You know, it's easy. It's like Wikipedia or WikiHow has content on it. That one is not going to drive revenue if you just do it as is. I could post content at scale. I could put it up there. It'll drive a little revenue. But the big money happens, and this is where you can use this stuff, where I would deliberately make a post in content at scale called, when is it time to get a plumber? Do I want this content to rank? No, I want this content to trigger ads. We're taking one piece that's going to get traffic, flipping it to content that now is going to work. You'll see this all the time with clickbaity sites. Motley Fool does it all the time. There's a couple others that do this all the time where it's like, oh, hey, Biden went to the zoo. How is this going to affect the stock market? You know, and it's like, okay, they're triggering on, you know, the president goes to the zoo and then this thing. But you can trigger things where, you know, why am I always broke? That's a keyword that advertisers don't know to use. Well, you're always broke because you could use these rewards credit cards and save money, or whatever it is that would eventually help them. Budget spreadsheets, that leads into people doing budgeting. And there's a myth online that because the keyword is simple, it's not profitable. And that's a big myth, because all you have to do is flip that market from, hey, you know, here's your budget spreadsheet, to, oh, here on the credit card line of the spreadsheet, let's click them into a blog post about, you know, how to use credit cards correctly, or how to refinance their mortgage, or is it time to get a rental, or something like that, where if you think a little different, and yes, AI will do this for you if you can't think that way, where it will really change things in a specific way that makes a lot of money.
That's so good. Oh, I told you guys you were going to get some secrets from the master. Those are like mind-blowingly good tips. That's amazing. So thank you so much for your time with us, Marcus. Thanks for being here. Definitely want to get you back in for more, because I know our community was really looking forward to this one. I was too. And I want to give a quick shout out that you're coming to Content Hacker Live, which I believe somebody in the comments, 193JMM, just signed up for Content Hacker Live yesterday. So a bunch of you have already. So you'll get to meet Marcus, because you'll be there, Marcus. I'm so excited about that. You're coming to Austin, Texas. And this event is March 12th, 13th this year, right here in Austin, Texas, Content Hacker Live in the middle of South by. Have you ever been to Austin in the middle of South by?
I've been through Austin once. I've never been in Austin.
Oh,
so no.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Oh, this
Oh,
is
no,
good.
I did go to Austin one time. That's true. I went downtown, but it wasn't during the thing.
Not during South by. Yeah, this is really interesting to see. You'll see a lot of unique things. How South by works is it's a bunch of different big brands that come and take over entire houses and buildings and make it their own venue during that whole week and a half period. And it started out as a music festival, more like arts music, but it's really turned into this giant tech slash expo type of conference where a lot of brands show off brand new tech, and you get to not just like see it and see a demo, but you're actually walking through the experience because they set up a lot of live interactive. That's the whole thing. It's an interactive exhibit. So you're like sitting in that new smart car and they parked it on the grass in front of the Capitol. It's just really, really cool what they do during South by. So you're in for a treat as somebody that is, as the online person. I think you'll really like it. But you'll be there during Content Hacker Live. So for those of you that have tickets already, you're in for a treat being able to network with people like Marcus. So we're excited to have you there for Content Hacker Live. And if you don't have your tickets, John just put that up on screen. contenthacker.com/event is where you can get those tickets. And our ticket prices double next month. So you definitely want to get those now, as well as accommodations are booking up quickly because, it's the week of South by Southwest. But we planned that on purpose to give you a really amazing experience. So you can linger, walk through the sidewalks, see the other exhibits, have some really good tacos that Texas is famous for. So it'll be an amazing week. But thanks again, Marcus. And we'll see you at Content Hacker Live if we don't see you virtually before then.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Talk later. Bye, guys.